It's been a while.
Gavin, where have you been?
Where have you been?
I don't know, you tell me. You have a tracker on me, so you should just tell me where I've been.
Shh, we don't talk about that. No one knows. How do you know?
I don't know.
Did Katie told you?
Yes.
Katie. We're going to have words, Katie.
Please do.
We're going to have words.
Please
Austin
do.
is mine.
I'm scared. This is a cry for help.
The true reality of the podcast come out. I'm good. I have been sleeping, I guess, hibernating.
For the last month?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I might want to get that checked out. Not gonna lie.
It's just a new genetic thing that started, I guess.
Oh, okay.
That like only like 1% of humans have in your county.
Okay.
And it only can be red-haired gingers. So
there you go.
And it can only be those that are like 5'5".
Okay.
And have really small feet.
The world now knows.
Exactly.
If you didn't know,
they're not too bad. But
when we do the foot high fives.
Yeah, like the actual like people that are geometrically smart can like analyze how big our actual feet are
Yes.
with a single foot high five.
Oh yeah, they definitely can.
No doubt in my mind.
Welcome to season 3.
That was just like seemingly I think one brain fart from the like you hold it in and then all the way until now it's just kind of just exploded.
That's where we've gotten.
Yeah, so much. I feel like so much has happened, but also little has happened. If that makes any sense.
I agree.
And it also like what we're halfway through the month of January. It doesn't feel like January.
What the heck? It feels like January 2nd.
I don't even know. I was writing on my paper, like I was typing up a paper for my master's class, and I went back and I got an email and I was like, oh, this is my first paper. What happened? And the teacher was like, you wrote 2021 on all of your papers. I was like, oh, that's
you
right.
You get an F for that.
Yeah, like I was literally legitimately scared that she was going to fail me for 2021. Like, man, if I'm writing that bad already. But
it only gets downhill from here.
It only gets downhill from...
No, it really only goes up from here.
Yeah, honestly. It's true. I mean... What, 20-some days into January? I mean, heck yeah. First episode of the new season. It's going to look and sound and be a little different, which is
we're
exciting.
kind of in a different space.
Oh my gosh.
We're still in Emeline, but we are upstairs.
Whoop, whoop.
There's a baseball worth $800 pretty close to us, so we kind of feel pretty famous right now, not going to lie.
I touched it. Does that mean like the worth went down?
I think the worth went up.
The worth went up?
Yeah.
That means you have to touch it.
I do have to touch it so that it goes back down to its normal price.
Why would you?
And in front of us, we have a changing room, which is really interesting.
Yeah. It's like a Back to the Future time machine.
Yeah, honestly.
But on a budget.
Check out the newest reel, probably. We'll be in a changing room. Not together. That's gross.
What?
That's too far.
Yeah, too far. Exactly.
Well, I had an interesting holiday. For Christmas, I had COVID.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeehaw, right?
Yeah.
So that was fun. I got it before everyone did now.
Yeah.
So I feel like I set a trend. So
everywhere in your work.
Everyone's copying me. Get out of here.
Oh my gosh. You don't want COVID. Like, come on now.
That was a fun adventure, but I'm glad I'm happy and healthy now. And
fun adventure. Yeehaw.
That's kind of my response to everything right now.
I think it works.
Just like out of my control. Yeehaw, we're along for the ride.
It's like COVID messed with your brain to make you
I think I'm a cowboy now.
Okay, that works.
COVID cowboy.
All right.
Hey, I got hats back here.
I mean, that literally...
I'm not going to put that on, but I'm a COVID cowboy.
Flashback season 2.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. That was the last episode.
Oh, my gosh.
That was the last time we were here.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I think, aren't we like directly above it, too?
We are.
Yeah.
So we just kind of moved up in the world, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. We touched an $800 baseball. Austin had COVID. I genetically, impossibly hibernated.
Yep.
And
you're back.
Yeah.
Watching genetic hybrid and COVID cowboy.
Genetic hybrid. Gerald, and what was the other one?
Gerald and Kenneth.
The true Gerald and Kenneth have been formed.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez.
But how are you guys? Like,
that's
I know
the
you
real question.
Probably can't answer us because there's nobody else here. But there's gonna be like this little thing at the bottom of this new podcast, this thing that you could probably like type in how you're doing, or you could reach out to us because we love to talk.
Yeah, reach out. We have an email, we have a Silo Instagram DMs. Also, I'm pretty sure, can't you do something on Spotify where you can like comment or ask questions back to the people? Also, hello, all you Spotify video watchers.
Ooh.
That's a new feature, huh? That's
Heck
pretty interesting. I mean, we were like early adopters for it or whatever, but then didn't use it until today. So here we are.
Heck yeah, like 2 or 3 months late.
So I think if you turn your phone landscape, that's how you see it. And it looks pretty cool. It's a cool player.
It's like YouTube, but like cooler.
Kind of cooler, yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
I think so.
Right. Gavin,
awesome.
What is our new like theme word for the year?
Artichoke.
Yeah, you heard it here first. 2022 is the year of artichoke.
I mean artichoke. Oh, artichoke dip.
Dip. Oh, okay.
That stuff smacks.
It does.
And
it
you
really
think
does,
about it,
actually.
like if you think about the layers of an artichoke, and it's almost like the layers of a creative.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
go on. Go on.
Like you peel off a piece, and you're like, I'm getting closer and closer to the core, which a lot of times is a lot better.
Yeah.
And then you dip that sucker into the dip, into the world, and then boom, digested, and then what else happens afterwards. But
welcome to season 3.
Yeah. But believe is actually our word.
Yeah.
Not as cool as artichoke, but
hey, we're working on it. Maybe next year.
Maybe next year. Clementine.
What is believe, and what is the thought process behind that?
So believe, I think over the past year, with just the way that COVID and everything else seemed to happen in 2021, I think more towards the end, but throughout the year, throughout a lot of the posts that we were trying to put out there, organically, just like thinking of things naturally coming up, believe just kept on coming. It just kept on coming.
Yeah.
It's like one of those light bulb moments where you don't actually realize that the thing that you wanted to happen is happening yet, but then you're like, wait, I've been saying the same thing for the past 3 or 4 months now.
Yeah.
I think it needs to happen. And so believe came up. And so we're kind of taking it from the realize, that we're realizing everything that we've kind of gone through, that we've dealt with, that we've hopefully grown in and expanded on. And then we're believing that we can make it better, we can improve on it, or we can take this year by its
horns.
Yes. And move forward. And so we hopefully over the next couple of weeks, you'll see some of the people that we personally have believed in and come to on more of a personal level. And then hopefully over the next couple of months, you might be one of those people that we can talk to. They can be like, hey, what's been going on? And you'll be like, I believed in this.
Yeah. I mean, I think, mid-January, we put out a lot of stories asking, like, what do you believe in? What are your biggest struggles? And some of you really hit home and, like, were, like, real honest for the entire internet. And we see who you were. But no one else does. And nor do we hold that against you or anything, because we have, honestly, the same struggles. Gavin just lost his glasses.
That's gonna be a cut right there.
But yeah, I know believe for us is just like, for so long we haven't been able to put words to what we've been doing, but a lot of what we have been doing is simply believing in people. And a realization we had like mid last year is like, listen, it doesn't matter like what level, what stage, what mastery you are of something, we still believe in you.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it's easier to believe in the people that are already succeeding, whatever subjective way you want to put succeeding as. But, there's people that haven't even started yet, but when we can still believe in them, and that belief only pushes them further and faster towards their goals.
Exactly.
So we've just noticed that. And I know when we were coming up, to the 2022 planning year, like a little bit of like behind the scenes action we're talking here is I just remember saying to Gavin, I'm like, we don't really have a word this year. Like,
No.
We didn't really have anything in the books, maybe like late November or something like that. And I was like, dude, I don't know I texted Gavin. I'm like, randomly, like a lot of these posts I've been saying recently ending with like, we believe in you.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of where it started. And Gavin's like, I was like, so I'm just throwing this out. I'm throwing this out there. Believe. And he's like, yeah, I like that. Let's go with that. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I guess that's what it's meant to be. We didn't have to like sort through like 7 different words. Like I think we did last year or something.
Yeah.
We're just like, yo, this is what it is. And it just came to us. And I think we both agreed that it was like worth it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So yeah, you'll be seeing a lot of that stuff. Some videos come out. And it's going to be sick. I think we're going to try to like feature those kinds of people. But like we said, those are the people that came out to a impromptu supply photo shoot. And it happened to be some of the people that we care about most.
Yeah.
So I think that really helps like get the point across that like those people have stuck through all of 2020, all of 2021 with us. And now we believe in them completely and want to tell their stories.
Exactly.
I think, storytelling is super important in general. Testimony, like that's their testimony.
Yeah.
It worked for them, so why can't it work for you?
Exactly. And it's embodying the whole premise of you have to believe in yourself before you can believe in others.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it makes a difference.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does.
On the back end kind of notes, I think what this podcast is going to be in the new year, we are going to try to be as frequent as possible, but we're not promising weekly episodes. We're just being real with you and what we were thinking is that this episode is going to be kind of laying the foundation as we do in the first episode. We're also thinking that these are going to be more longer episodes. Yeah. Which is going to be super cool, I think. Yeah. Because 15 minutes, I think what we talked about before, you want to go?
Yeah, because I was talking to him like, so my computer is loving us right now. Very much. There's not even a single hint of sarcasm in that, right? But I was talking to him, to Austin, I was just saying that we, and I think a lot of our past episodes have realized we get to like the 12-minute mark after like goofing off for a couple minutes and saying hello. And then we realize, oh wait, we actually really are passionate about what we're talking about and we want to talk more. And then it's like, oh, 20 minutes have hit, and then we were like, oh wait, we have to stick to it. We got to keep on top of things.
We tried to keep them to 15 minutes. Yeah. So there's not a single time last season, other than maybe the first episode, where we've actually hit the 15 minutes.
I don't think so. Yeah. And so we're sitting down thinking about kind of what this new year is going to look like and how we can further believe in our own abilities and to use them in the best ability, but also not like burn out, because that's important. Mm-hmm. So we decided to make an episode longer. That might not be as much as you see every single week, like Austin said, but you'll see more of our faces for like an episode.
I don't know if you like that or not, but here we are.
Yeah, if you don't, then you can maybe look at the cups.
Yeah. Actually, I do need to take a sip of my tea.
Yeah, if you want some cool of these things.
Cheers. I didn't do that on purpose.
That was so cool.
Oh, audio listeners, what you're missing out on is quite special.
That was so sick.
I didn't even try. Oh, yeah, you got to be on the YouTuber Spotify video for that one.
Oh man, I'm crying.
Not gonna even explain that.
That was so good.
But yeah, so I know we're trying to have. It seems like we're like parents trying to have a stern talk with you. But we're just. We want to be honest and lay this out. Yes, exactly, and lay this out as plainly as possible because I think you deserve it. Yeah. So yeah, it's just a change in format rather than a change of how much we give you.
Yeah.
But we want this kind of to be more of like an after show. Yeah. I think we've talked about enough topics for now, and we're going to be recording these not batch recording. So we'll also have time for you to give us feedback and ask us questions that we can maybe answer in the next one, so that is its own segment in said video instead of not having like actual engagement.
Exactly, which I think is a huge benefit because now if moving forward we kind of have that understanding, like batch recording can be really great.
it saves you time. It's great. I think that was my plan.
Yeah, but then we also realized that now doing it kind of segmented, not all at once, allows for creativity to more naturally flow, which is good, and so that we don't become clouded by exhaustion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, our episodes, we'll see what we hit.
Yeah,
we'll see.
But
it'll be more like a half hour, I would say.
Yeah,
which is gonna be cool.
I think so too.
I think it's better than a 15-minute episode, to be honest.
And then I think moving forward, we also, with these hour-long, if we end up having an hour-long episode, most likely it will be with maybe somebody additionally to Austin and I, maybe a special guest.
Yeah, and they might be a part of it for 15, half hour might be the whole thing. But I think it's going to be a really cool side thing where because of the time that we're not spending 4 to 5 hours batch recording an entire season, it allows us to invite people in and be like, you know what? You have a very interesting opinion or a strong passion for something. Let's get you on here and talk about it.
Yeah.
So
heck yeah.
So that's the new direction of the podcast. We don't even know how many episodes are going to be in the season. So that's how far we planned ahead.
Exactly.
But in the best way possible. We haven't planned ahead. But yeah, the back end stuff never seems to leave us, right? We've been in this season after the holiday party, all we've been doing is taking more of a step back.
Yeah.
We announced on Instagram that hey, this is our rest season. So what have we been up to that still shows that we're interested in Silo? We didn't just take a break.
Yeah.
It's a lot less outward facing.
Yeah. So that's a great way to put it, because when I think Austin and I, we've taken, I think in the past, we've taken hiatuses away from things. If you've listened to kind of past episodes, I think one of the episodes in the first season, we talked about how Silo was made and built and formed, and we took after a couple of months actually being invested in Silo, we took 6 months completely off.
Yeah.
When we're saying we took a break now, it was more of, like Austin said, instead of being outwardly seeing events, seeing more posts, comments, things like that, we kind of took a break from the outside lens, which allows for our body, I think, to really fill ourselves up again. Yeah. So we've talked a lot about how sometimes it looks a little bit different to fill yourself up. And might just be shutting off a certain part of your life for a little bit and then reopening it. But it ended up turning out that we inwardly were working on a lot of things, like this new podcast idea. There's some exciting events that are going to be happening, hopefully within this year, trying to make it so then rather just Austin and I fronting it, creatives as a whole are fronting it, which would be super cool, because that's where, again, that believe word comes in. For a very long time, we believed in this mission and this idea, and we still do. But we wanted to take a couple of weeks, a month or so, to take it off, and then now rework that so that not only we're believing in this mission and our vision, we're believing in the people that are a part of it, and putting them at the front. So it's been crazy.
Yeah, how many events have we planned? Maybe. Just give them a little teaser.
So I guess I'll give you. So the Silo slams are still probably going to end up happening, which will be super cool. But for that's, I guess, a little sneak peek into maybe one or two of the events that will be happening upcoming. But we have, I think, maybe one or two events for each month for the next year, which is really cool. And then we got some. And then those will ebb and flow, because we got a pretty big event on the forefront of our minds. Yeah. Which we don't really have much solidified yet, but it's coming.
First half of the year, we have a large event.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of medium-sized events. I
would say we probably have anywhere from 12 to 15 events total planned. As long as the COVID and everything else goes well, we'll have 12 to 15 overall, probably with some miniature, smaller events mixed in between.
Yeah, I mean, you know us, and it's the small groups that come out to this stuff. But like randomly on a Wednesday, I'll say, "Hey, I want to shoot some photos. Gavin, hang out with me, please, please, Gavin, please hang out with me.
Begs.
I need you." And then it happens to be a whole silo thing, and that's where Kid Carol got photos. Hun was there. Terry,
we love Terry.
Shout out all those wonderful people.
Heck yeah!
But like they just showed up. They're just like, "Yo, I got nothing else to," and we just hung out. And those are some of our most like special events. I feel like where it's literally like, "Hey, we didn't even plan anything, but the people bring the party."
Exactly.
Which is nice. I think that's something that we need to continue doing and do more of too. Is just like hangouts. Like you have like these like larger groups that do like painting nights, and that's not saying we can't do a painting night, because we probably will, but like a lot of those people don't just have a game night on a Friday night and hang out and get to know each other personally without even having to do having anything to do with what they do best.
Shout out to the Friendsgiving that happened downstairs.
That was big. I love that.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. It was so fun that like my job as a photographer, I didn't do any photos. So.
It's definitely something that I think will forever be on our hearts. Like one of those things.
And mashed potatoes. Yo, Erica with the mashed potatoes.
Jeremy
with the mashed potatoes. You know who you are,
bro,
and we love you.
Yeah,
and your mashed potatoes.
Yeah. Erica's sick too.
We love Erica. You're one of our favorites, and we just met you recently, so that's pretty
awesome.
Cool.
Heck yeah.
So we just have a lot of things in the pipeline that is exciting to us, and like I think we have a better perspective on it too. That we've done tons last year. Now we figure out what works, what doesn't. We're still pushing the boundaries and having the boundaries push back on us.
Exactly.
So there's no lack of like excitement or like uncomfortability, which is the cool thing, because like we're still getting uncomfortable, which is important to us.
Yeah.
But there's also a refined understanding of what we can mentally, physically do for said events at said times, knowing the fall is going to be super busy for me. So Gavin picks up weight. Yeah. Gavin goes to school. I need to pick up more weight, kind of deal. So with that understanding, I think we come to a better realization of what is actually feasible.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it also opens up the opportunity for people amongst the community with new ideas to kind of present that, like, hey, this is something that I want to do. And then we just believe in you and give you that encouragement to do it, because it's important. Because by no means is this a hierarchy of Austin and Gavin, but no way, Jose.
We don't want it to be us on the front.
We're Mr. and Mrs. Silo, okay? We love and care for you, but we want you to spread your wings and get out of the house as well.
Get the frick out of my nest.
So we want you as well. Like, if you have these ideas, I know Ben Igo, shout out to him. He wants to start doing yoga classes. So he came to us and we're like, yeah, let's do it. And so our hopeful plan is to potentially get him a studio space and then have him to do yoga, which not only is a benefit to Austin and I, because we got that flexibility, and then but it also helps the community around us, because we know that mindfulness is very, very important. And that's just an example of maybe potentially what's to come, but also to put the idea out there. Like, if you're listening and you're like, man, I really have this awesome idea, I just don't know how to do it. Well, sometimes taking that leap of faith and just talking to somebody can actually make the idea really blow up. Yeah. And we've had that happen to us with Cultivate.
I think all you have to do is share your idea with people, and the real ones will believe in it and go forward and help you in any way possible. And I think also real ones would say, hey, I'm unavailable this time to help you. I'm full. I cannot take anything else on. And I think that's a level of respect that I have for people.
Yeah, so I think respect is also very important with creatives, but also with the relationships that you end up building with business partners, etc.
I mean, there's so many, I'm tooting my own horn here at this moment, but like, there's so many like businesses that we've like done like transactions with and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That, you know, very few of them, you know, some of them are there for just the transactional thing, but some of them are there to build relationships. And I think that's key. Speaking of relationships, I mean, we're in a beautiful spot right now.
Yeah, shout out to Molly. I mean, the only reason that a relationship, like, you could start something and collaborate with somebody, and that can happen regardless of whatever intent that you're going for, if it's just for painting, just for photography, etc. But in order for the relationship to continue, for more opportunities to come up, the respect has to be there.
Yeah.
And so with Molly, I mean, we're right now presently right before she opens recording this podcast. We got here before she got here because she respected us and we respected her enough. Then that built that trust, which is super important, which is so cool because that I feel like never would have happened if that relationship didn't start with the premise of trust. And just like the collaborations and events that we're hoping to happen in the future, we want to make sure that you know, but that we also have that bounce back like we talked before, that mutual trust and respect is important for a relationship in any regard, not even just creatively, to move forward and to continue to grow. And so that's why we're with Molly here. I mean, we're upstairs, then there's possibilities of more space being opened up. I mean, and she comes to us because there's that respect and that trust that she knows that we will tell her, hey, like, that probably won't work out for us, or we don't think that, why don't you change it in this direction? And like you were saying about the real ones, it's important to find those people, and it's going to take time, though. I mean, it's not going to happen all at once.
A lot of the time it's tough love. It's like, listen, I love you enough to tell you this is not the direction you want to go.
Yeah. And that's very, very important, because I think, especially entering into an Instagram era, being in an Instagram era, a lot of the things that you see online or the collaborations that have happened, you want to get there, you want to be there instantly, but you never know, like, that relationship might have been going on for like years, and then finally now this artwork's coming out. And so it's very important. It's very, very important to have that trust in that relationship, especially moving into the new year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to beat the dead horse of how many times we've talked about trust and respect, because I feel like that's just, for us, that's so, like, key in all of the, like, the people that we've talked to. Like you know, we have like a digital marketing services that we run, and so much of like our being is like, we will communicate with you exactly like the timing that needs to happen, and we expect the same back from you, and a lot of the times we don't get it, unfortunately. And it's almost very telling. It becomes an instant red flag that we've noticed in a lot of people. It's just like, you know, okay, we're going to respond day of to you with exactly, I'm going to sneeze, so take over.
Exactly. So this is kind of funny what's happening right now, because I think behind the scenes, my computer hated me even more. So your sneeze and then now this. But like you were saying, like, I think as a creative, after working more and more with people, you begin to realize who necessarily is it for more of the connection, or who's in it more for just, you're not big enough, you're not this enough, etc.
I mean, that's another thing we just talked about recently. You are enough, or you are blank. I want to get into that in a little bit, but going back to that, it's just like, we've talked to so many people where we're like, hey, we laid down the ground rules, like, hey, you know, if you expect this from us, we expect this from you. That's written down. It's basically in a contract that we send out to people. And a lot of the time it's not reciprocated. I'm like, dang, I know I do it sometimes, like, personally, but like, it's different when it comes from a business that you would expect, you know, to be reputable, and, you know, they're making money, so they're doing something right. And then it's like, they ghost us on things and on projects, and like, it's weird, and maybe I'm judging at this moment, but it's like 220 somethings can do better communication than people that have been in there for a while, and I don't know. It seems weird to me sometimes. It's like there's people that we talk to, and it's like, okay, you're gonna like talk to us.
Yeah, I think it brings a very, I think, needed point, especially I think what we're hitting it and stressing it so much is that in order for things to truly happen, you have to, one, believe in yourself, and that knowing that you can indicate when those red flags are, but then two, have somebody in a mutual relationship, in a creative relationship that believes in you and the vision that you're going for. Because trust, believe, I think honestly stand on the same ground. I mean, if you don't believe in that individual, then the trust is there. And it's the same way. And when we, like you were talking about, like when we've come with businesses or with just people in general, there's something that I think there's the Instagram trust, and then there's actually the human personality trust. And we've come to see that there is actually a genuine divide between the two. Because you can send something out on Instagram, a post, a DM, a comment, a like, etc., and people are going to love it because it brings that interaction. But then there's a difference between, like, if you're actually meeting with that person in person, that trust may or may not exuberate the same way it does online. And it's important to kind of, I think, and it doesn't necessarily come right away, because we've been doing, 2-3 years, and still finally getting to the grasp, okay, we've know what we can actually do. We know what we can put forward. We know the content or the lemons that we can make, not just business-wise, but just in general, and knowing that allows for us to have almost a different level of confidence, but then not everybody else can reciprocate that or wants that. And so then it's just argues that, like, okay, do this person trust, do they believe, or are they just saying it to say it kind of deal, which is fun.
Oh, we've had conversations about stuff. And by no means are we perfect in any means, but like working from experience, it's just like, this podcast can be us venting a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Right?
The true behind the scenes.
Right? We want to be real with you. We're keeping it real.
Yeah. I don't think, and bounce off that, like, by no means are we trying to pinpoint or go at anybody in particular, but we're just trying to continue to make ourselves aware by saying it out loud, but also making you listening and watching it aware, because I think we can get so caught up and just, I want to do this, and this, and then reality hits. And it's like, whoa, there are people out there that don't share the same value or mission or belief that I have, and that's what's conflicting. And that's, I think, where if you as you're starting to believe more and more in yourself, not in a conceited or an egotistical way, but in a way that allows for you to love and care for others, but also have that stern, like, okay, this person, I can see over the past couple of weeks that there are some things that they're indicating that this relationship, probably after this thing or probably moving forward, is not going to work.
Yeah.
And so we're just trying to keep it as real as possible, because this is some of the things that we've kind of dealt with during our hiatus or our little bit of a break. And that's why it's not as much outwardly, because we're not going to post about these kind of things.
Like leaving bad reviews on people or anything.
No, we're just trying to make sure that it's creating stuff is hard, for the most part. I think the easy part is actually creating the thing that you want to create. The difficult part is putting it out there to the people and getting the connections that you want. And that's why I think towards the beginning of this podcast, we're like, this is what this is going to become. It's just, this is the reality of what we're facing. And we want to believe not only what we believe in and what ourselves, but in other people. And through that, we have to have that general foundation of, okay, this is where we're at. This is what we want to move forward in. And this is how we want to pour into you guys.
Yeah. And
I think it's important to have that, because if you don't, then you kind of lose focus, which is difficult, and there's seasons for that. But you gotta move forward, and you gotta actually take that step to move forward.
Yeah. On a lighter kind of note, to we just went through the holiday season. We just have been discussing a lot too about, like, do we feel like we're enough? Are you enough? Am I enough? What does enough even look like? What does success even look like? And we've had to really evaluate what success means.
Yeah.
And for us, success looks a lot different than what it would look like for you guys. Not in a bad way, but success is so subjective that it's not reaching 1,000 or 1 million follower kind of thing. It's not a milestone. It's something that is specific to you, and it's tied to emotions, believe it or not. So I think that it really is something that I go through, and I'll give a personal example that I wrote about to some people in mid-January. Is like, I didn't do a Black Friday sale on my photos or my prints. No, I didn't do Christmas minis sessions. That's a common thing. It's the easiest way to make money as a photographer is say, hey, I'm going to have 2 hours of spaces. You come for 15 minutes. I make $150 off of every person that comes. That's 8 people times 125, 150. And I made $2,000 or whatever. Not saying it's easy, but it's easier money than doing one a week for 8 weeks or something. And for that, you have the Black Friday sales where it's passive income. If you sell your prints, you already have the photos. It's people simply paying to print them. Wow, easy money. I didn't do that. I missed out, if you will. We can get into the fear of missing out as well as am I enough?
Your neighbors.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you didn't do that. It doesn't matter that you didn't do a Christmas sale. You are doing enough just existing and creating. And those things are extra. Obviously, if you're a full-time photographer, maybe you need those things to make enough money to live your normal life. And to that, I say that's totally fine. And you need to do what you need to do. And that becomes a bare minimum, right? And everything else is extra. So if I have a full-time job, I do. My photography gig is just extra. I don't need to count on that as income that I need to have. And while I consider myself blessed and very lucky and to have that stuff, success is different for me. Success for me is keeping financial stability, and I technically already have that through my job. For others, those kind of sales do mean a lot more. I just want to say that you're enough doing whatever you're doing. If you didn't do it this year, guess what? You have next year and the year after that. Just because you didn't do it in this season or you had too much stuff going on, it does not mean that you are less than the person who did do it. Your priorities have shifted. Your priorities are different. And that's totally okay. And I mean, you look at people that go to college when they're 45, obviously, they have enough drive to go back for it. It doesn't matter when you start. I think that's the key. It's like, it doesn't matter when you start. I could start when I was 17 and I could be the best photographer in the world, or I could be 37 and do the same thing in 3 years. It doesn't matter when you start, because you're enough when you started and you're enough when you're 4 years into it. I think that's so important to hear. And a lot of people on that post said that they needed to hear that. And I'm glad that they heard that. I just wanted to reciprocate or retell that to you guys as well. Like, I know I didn't do those things and I felt bad for not doing them. Obviously I was in a little bit of a different situation, but it's okay to not do those things. I don't know. I keep repeating that.
But that's important.
But yeah, you are enough no matter where you are in that journey, no matter if you're just starting off or making thousands of dollars just on prints a year. from a photography standpoint. Do you have any words?
That was good.
Talk about Fear of Missing Out. We love that song. It's FOMO by Your Neighbors, and you will be blessed song. Greatly from it.
That band is great. I mean, talk about somebody that was rejected by the music industry and decided to do something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
just invite people in.
Yeah, like that's just, I think it's a perfect description of kind of what we're trying to nail into everybody and what we're trying to nail into ourselves, because we always need that reminder of these kind of things. But I think with what Your Neighbors did, I mean, he was told that he didn't have the greatest of voices. I mean, that he probably won't make it in the music industry. And so instead of, I mean, it definitely hit him hard, and he's talked about it before, about how debilitating that was to hear, especially from some of his closest friends. Hearing that, and but then realizing, okay, maybe I can do something different to make the best of it. And so the great thing about technology is that we can change our voices in a magnitude of ways, but so he ended up deciding that, okay, I can make beats, I can make these kind of things, so I'm going to sing. My voice isn't going to sound the way that I typically would sing, but he used what the world told him as a crux or as a weakness and made it to something that's absolutely fantastic. And realizing that he was enough, that he had people around him that eventually came in and tapped in and believed in what he was doing. I mean, a lot of the songs that you'll hear are like, there's world-renowned saxophone players and guitar players and drummers that aren't like naturally a part of his gig, but have come around him and said, like, bro, like, regardless of what the world is telling you, we really think that you can do something. And that's what he
just rocks it.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. And I can't wait to hopefully one day see him in concert, and just the raw emotion and power and ability that he has. And that, I think, reciprocates kind of what we're trying to say, is that it's his success is defined a lot different than a typical musician in the music industry. And even outside of that, just a personal scope of things. I think originally he wanted to succeed just by singing, but now he's bringing people together to tap into a song that ends up being a visual and musical masterpiece.
Oh yeah.
And that's the same way with what we're trying to say. Like, we keep on saying it over and over again, but it's important and it's true to remind yourself that success for you is different. And success for others is different. And it's finding the real ones that are going to tap in, to believe in what you're having, to have that trust, to actually start doing the things that you're envisioning. And that vision may change in 24 hours, 2 years, a week, whatever. Like, for us, it's changed. I think Silo has changed from, let's just bring people together online, to no, let's actually change people's lives by just giving them the opportunity to change themselves. And I think it's important, because with Your Neighbors, I mean, he realized that he didn't necessarily could sing that well, but he gave other people the opportunity to jump into something. I mean, you got us, you got Philly Create, you got Atlanta Church Creatives. The list goes on. Is people are, I think, generally tuning in to wanting to create together, but now they actually have the space to tap in. Which is important. So,
yeah, I think too. It's you know, at the beginning of this year, we need to reflect on goals. Did we hit our goals last year? Did we hit our goals? Are we going to hit our goals? Make goals this year? And I just, at the end of this episode, I want you to look back, if you haven't already, and said, did I accomplish any of my goals?
Yeah.
Did I accomplish all of them? Was it too easy? Did I accomplish none of them?
Yeah.
Maybe they were a little bit too big. I don't think goals are ever too big. I think it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
It's, a big goal might take 5 years, but you think it will only take one, but maybe it's a process kind of thing. I just want to urge you, look back, but then also make sure you're looking forward at the same time, because you are not defined by what you didn't do last year. You're defined by what you are doing this year. So I want you to do stuff this year that matters and impacts people's lives.
Yeah.
I want you specifically that's listening right now to do big things in your community, do big things for others, and just to listen to others, and be creative together, if everything permits.
Yeah. Believe in each other.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. Episode 1 of season. I said episode 1 as I held 2 fingers up. Episode 1 of season 3 has been completed, Gavin.
Heck
and
yeah.
we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Gabagoo.
Let us know how you feel about this.